All right, if you saw the video from earlier today with the data mine, disregard that video. This is going to be the correct video. Also, Doctor Strange is getting a pretty significant rework where he can summon Wong, and people have been seeing parts of that in game, and a lot of that information is a little bit off. This is the developer's information here, so I suspect that it's going to be the way it should be when it goes in game. We've got the kits for Emma, Ancient One, the reworks to Moondragon, which is slight, and then we got a pretty significant changes to OG Doctor Strange, and this is of course going to play in with the Shadow King. Before we get into the kits, I just want to talk about the possessed feature on Shadow King. It says when this character or when any astral ally has possessed at the end of that character's turn, or when any non-summoned ally uses their ultimate ability. So whoever is possessed and whoever on the team that is an astral that's not summoned uses their ultimate, the following things will happen. Attack the most injured enemy for piercing, plus strain, and steal 5% of the max health, and redistribute the possessed to the possessed character. Fill possessed character's speed bar by 15%. Clear one negative effect from the possessed character. And then characters that have possessed cannot gain trauma or stun. And so the Shadow King is going to spawn with possessed, and then when he dies, he will pass the possessed along to a random astral ally that does not have possessed, and they will bounce from character to character. They'll be possessed, right? Emma, X-Men Emma. I'm pretty excited about this because there's some cool things in her kit, and she does have the X-Men tag, so I'm looking forward to potentially using her with, Nightcrawler and or Gambit or maybe Forge. We'll have to see. Astral Team. Transcend the realm of the battlefield. Defeats with the Astral Team. We already met their legendary leader, Shadow King, so today we're using all of our combined psychic abilities to summon an overview of how Astral will leave crater-sized mark on Battleworld and take a telepathic wrecking ball to Alliance War with awakened abilities. It feels like there's these Battleworld boosts, and then they say, or war, but only when you have the awakened ability. And so there's awakened abilities littered throughout these kits. This deeply concerns me. Ancient One. Master of the mystic arts, the Ancient One became the Earth's foremost guardian against dark forces by wielding immense powers like astral projection, time manipulation, and energy constructs. She was the mentor to Doctor Strange and countless others. Her wisdom and strength shaped the future of sorcery, making her legacy one of the most powerful in the mystic realm. So it's going to be the female MCU version. Ancient One is a brawler for the Astral Team who doles out damage and effects along with providing the team with ability energy. Her basic peppers foes with bleed, while her special amps up her team, applying 3 counters to herself and all allies. Her ultimate is especially powerful. It is, as it is a rebound chains that ends with an attack on the most injured enemy that applies stun and empties that character's speed bar. That's very powerful. Dropping turn meter and applying stun all at the same time. Oof. Then applies safeguard to herself and her astral allies. Whenever her or an astral ally crits, she generates ability energy for herself and all astral allies. That makes me want to think that Raider is going to be important throughout this team. Raider does typically seem like a good default as a last result if you're not sure what to put on a character, especially if they're hitting multiple targets. But this gives a further incentive to put Raider on them than most of the time when you would not. Like if you're having a hard time deciding between Strike or Raider, well, on this team, do Raider. Ancient One's power increases in Battleworld and Alliance War with awakened abilities, particularly her passive, which prevents enemies from gaining taunt when they spawn. And I think that's going to be super useful on offense in Alliance War, but it's going to be tied to an awakened ability, which I don't like. On spawn, applies safeguard to herself and all astral allies. I think that's fantastic. The counter to that would be 2 characters. That would be Ares and or Apocalypse. And on turn, prolongs the duration of all positive effects on herself and all astral allies. So we're going to get into the Ancient One kit first. Hero Global Mystic Brawler Astral Speed of 122. I believe that Shadow King is 125, so a little bit slower than Shadow King. Let's go to the passive where it's going to be all at. On turn, flip heal block on self and all allies. Nice. On self and Astral ally crit, generate 1 ability energy for self and all Astral allies. I think Raider's going to be important. In Battle World or War with Awakened ability, if this character has 3 or more Astral allies at the start of any match, enemy characters cannot spawn with taunt. Fine. On spawn, apply with safeguard to self and all Astral allies. That'd be so much better if that was like Crucible. My goodness. On turn, prolong the duration of all positive effects by 1 up to maximum 3 on self and all Astral allies. And yeah, the and war part of this is in Battle World, and war is going to be tied to Awakened ability. Let's go to the special because that's going to go off typically first. Flip all positive effects and negative effects on all enemies. Nice. Attack all enemies for piercing and 5% of the target's max health, and apply a heal block for 2 turns. This attack gains 50% extra crit damage. Raider. Apply 3 counter to self and all allies, and then Battle World and War. Apply speed up to self and all allies. And again, the and war is going to be a T5 Awakened ability, which we do not like here at Mobile Gamer Enterprises. Boo! But anyways, speed up's fairly important. Ultimate right here. Energy 4/6, attack primary target for piercing, rebound chain to 3 adjacent enemies for piercing. Then this is the part of the kit that I like very much. Attack the most injured enemy for piercing, apply stun, reduce speed bar by 100%. So even if they have like safeguard and stealth and all this other stuff, the reduced speed bar is still super impactful. It just is, because that can't be resisted because of having immunity or safeguard or just high resistance. So I mean, the stun is good, but I think just being able to knock down the turn meter on the most injured enemy is going to be impactful in a lot of different places. Apply safeguard to self and all Astral allies. Counterattack breaks this chain. Then the basic attack primary target for piercing. On crit, apply 2 additional bleed to that target when forced to attack an ally. This character deals less damage to Astral characters. And that has to do with the mind control abilities. And actually, Emma has that on the OG Emma, and then the new Emma that we're going to go over right now also has some of that. There are actually some pretty cool things in the Emma kit, which I like a lot. We're going to go over X-Frost, Emma Frost, X-Men, which does have the X-Men tag. One of the more manipulative member of the Hellfire Club who used her powerful telepathic abilities for personal gain and dominance. After tragedy involving her students, she shifted her focus and joined the X-Men, determined to protect and guide young mutants with her telepathy. She's not telepathetic, she's telepathic, and ability to transform into an organic diamond. Emma balances her sharp edge with commitment to mutant survival. So, hero support for Astral, sustains her allies and teaches enemies a lesson with plenty of mind control attacks, which I think is interesting that the kits have anti-mind control in their kits. She keeps her Astral allies in the fight with steady supply of regeneration, defense up, and barrier. Her support goes on the offensive by mind controlling enemies for painful attacks and a powerful ultimate attack that copies and clears negative effects from her allies. So she takes all the negative effects from her allies and then throws them back on the enemy. And Kingpin will spawn with possessed, and when he is possessed, he's immune to trauma and stun, and he has the ability of lowering the duration of the negative effects. Basically has an effective way of getting rid of trauma, which is going to make Emma even more impactful, because then she can take the negative effects, put them on herself, and then kick them back to the other side. I think that's fantastic. I really do. Emma's awakened abilities strengthen her further in war, where she applies barrier on her special ability while her passive clears disrupted and applies immunity from herself, Astral allies, and X-Men allies. So, X-Men tag, fantastic. Let's go to the passive first. And just keep in mind when it says Battle World, you can say or war and just know that it is an awakened ability. On spawn, apply defense up to self and all allies. So that is not team specific. That's pretty cool. She just applies defense up to everybody on her team. Barrier, Self, and all Astral and X-Men allies for 30% of this character's max health. Fantastic. This means that she can synergize not only with the team that she's designed with here, but also we can take advantage possibly of Nightcrawler, Gambit, Forge, characters like that are X-Men, right? And 30% of the character's max health in Barrier is the cap. It does, unless it's specifically mentioned, it doesn't go higher than 30%. I mean, there's some kits that do that, but typically characters are capped at 30%. Character's max health in the form of Barrier, it caps out. First time this character or an Astral ally drops below 50% health, do the following. Clear all negative effects on that character. Barrier that character for 30% of this character's max health. In Battle World or in War, if you spend money, whenever this character, an Astral ally, or an X-Men ally gains disrupted, clear all disrupted and apply immunity on that character. It seems like it's going to be super important in War. And this is beyond insane. Non-mythic enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects. So speed increase would be like what Man-Thing does to the Night Stalker team. But this, he boosts the speed of the team by 20%. So that is not turn meter, that is speed. And positive effects, which is going to be the speed, the positive effect speed that we've had since the game has come out, which is 50% extra speed. So this is saying that non-mythic enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects. And from the way this reads right here, that is not tied to Battle World or War. That's just part of the kit. I think that's going to be super important. And I think that'll give Emma X-Men long-term viability. Just this right here, which is interesting they didn't mention. But we'll have to see how that plays out, of course. Let's go to the special, which is going to go off first. Dazzling Domination. 4/4. Attack primary target for damage. Apply ability buff for 1 turn and defense down for 2 turns. Mind control the enemy with the highest damage to attack the primary target. The controlled character gains 50% damage. Apply offense down to the controller character. Apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all allies. In battlefield, and then and War, of course, is awakened only. Barrier, Self, and all Astral men and X allies for 20% of the character's max health. That doesn't seem super important right there. Some of this Battle World and War stuff seems more important than others. This one, not so much. This attack is unavoidable. Cool. Ultimate, 3/5. Attack primary target for damage, 10% of the target's max health. If this character does not have trauma, copy and clear all negative effects except stun from all Astral and X-Men allies to self. Take all the negative effects on your team, put them on Emma, and then shoot, copy and clear all negative effects from self and from self to primary target. Shoot them over to the other side. Mind control all enemies adjacent to the primary target to attack the primary target. Oh boy, if you can get them all clumped together with like Magneto or Void Knight, or that'd be interesting, or Polaris even. The mind control characters gain 50% damage for this attack. Barrier, Self, and all allies for 30% of the character's max health. Apply immunity Self and all Astral and X-Men allies. So the kit that we read before mentioned Safeguard, and now we've got some immunity. Immunity plus Safeguard seems pretty cool. And in-game Thanos is the appropriate counter for that. We'll go to the basic attack, and then we're going to go to the reworks on Moondragon and Doctor Strange. 111 is kind of slow, though. That's the only thing I don't like. Attack primary target for damage. Apply regeneration for 2 turns. Additional regeneration for 1 turn to the most injured ally herself, and bury that character for 10%. This character's max health. When forced to attack an ally, this character deals less damage to Astral characters. Okay. And then this looks like standard stuff for the ISO, counterattack, assist, and so on. Now let's go to the reworks. Doctor Strange is the one that's the most interesting to me, and we already see the stat increases in game, and then other people have been experiencing the Wong summon, which we're going to have an explanation on why that is working and what is happening. I've seen screenshots of this. I've actually seen video files of this. Made several upgrades to Doctor Strange to enhance his role as a powerful support character. The resistance bonus he previously gave himself has now been baked into his base stats. So basically, this is true not only for Secret Defenders. Basically, they're boosting the stats that Doctor Strange would boost if he was on the Secret Defenders team, and they're just putting him in there, and they're removing that from the kit. They're also doing that with Moondragon and Infinity Watch. So there's slight reworks, if you will, to that is going to make Secret Defenders and Infinity Watch better on their own when these characters are not with them. And people rarely use Doctor Strange with Secret Defenders, so this is actually a boost to the Secret Defender team. We'll get to that at the end of the kit. Additionally, we reworked his old charge mechanic into something more exciting. Doctor Strange can now summon Wong when charged. We've also replaced the previous moderate heal with a consistent on-turn healing ability that restores 5% health for himself and all allies each turn, making him even more impactful in battlefield. We're going to go all the way down to the passive, read about the Wong thing, and we're going to go right to the new, because this is the new stuff right here. On turn, fill speed bar of the ally with the least speed bar by 15%. And I wish, this always seemed really cool to me, but it never seemed good enough to justify Doctor Strange to put him on the team because the rest of his kit was bad. But I always thought this was pretty cool because it's tied to any ally. Heal self and all allies for 5% of this character's max health. So that is, it used to be just himself. Now it applies to allies. When a positive effect is applied to an enemy, heal for 5% of the character's max health. Gain 1 deflect up to a maximum of 5. The first time an ally dies, generate 2 ultimate ability energy for this character. When an enemy attacks this character or an ally, gain 1 charge. And when he gets to 5 charge at the end of his turn, on turn end, if this character has 5 or more charge and does not have a summon Wonged ally, Wongers! Summon Wong. And the Wong stats are going to be based on, typically summon character stats are based off of this character stats. So Doctor Strange stats is going to funnel into Wong stats. So having a big Strange means we have a big Wong. I can't stop myself. Man-thing jokes or Wong jokes. I can't stop myself in Battle World. And War. So the and War part is a part of the Awakened ability. The summon Wong spawns with 2 death proof, safeguard for 2 turns, and 80% speed bar. Safeguard super important on taunters, right? Because once he goes and Wong does his ultimate, he'll be taunting, right? Clear 5 charge on this character, and the summon Wong ally gains a lot of focus. Now, let's go up a little bit and talk about, let's just go to the top of his kit. Now, the stat increases we've already seen in game. I believe those are all live right now. Unless I hear something else, that's my understanding. Basic Bolt of Balthak. Bolt of Balthak. New. Attack primary target for piercing 3% of the target's max health. Bury yourself for 5% of this character's max health. When forced to attack an ally, this character deals less damage to astral allies. So it is anti-mind control. The special, attack all enemies for piercing and 5% of the target's max health. So that may prove to be more and more powerful when you start getting these characters over 10 million HP, which I think that's the direction the game is going. Attack is now unavoidable and cannot be counterattacked or blocked. And then the ultimate, and also when playing with Kingpin, Shadow King. Did I call him Kingpin earlier? I don't know. I keep calling Shadow King Kingpin. They all of those guys look the same to me. It pops off the possessed feature on the possessed, which triggers whenever the astral ultimates go off, right? So that'll be going off in addition to this. Clear all negative effects from self and all allies. Revive 2 dead random allies with 65% health in Battle World and War with the T5 with Awakened ability. Gain 3 ability energy. Apply 2 counter, 2 death proof, and deflect to self and all astral allies. And this felt like an ability that people would typically hold on to, but this possessed thing is going to pop off, because it reads, when a non-summoned ally uses their ultimate ability, attack the most injured enemy for piercing, drain, steal 5% of the enemy's max health, and redistribute to the possessed character. The possessed character speed bar by 15%, clear when negative effect possessed character. So I think using the ultimate may be beneficial, even if you don't want to revive, because it's going to proc that possessed mechanic, which is going to start off on Kingpin. And then if Kingpin dies, it bounces somebody else. And then when that character dies, it bounces someone else within the Astral team. Pretty cool mechanic. I do like that a lot. Let's go to, let's before we go on to the Moondragon. And just this is worth mentioning is that before it used to have gain 50% resistance, Secret Defender allies gain 50% resistance. That is completely removed. And Black Cat, Ghost Rider Robbie, Ms. Marvel, Hardlight, and Photon will just get 50% resistance. Moondragon, not a lot of changes, but we're going to go retune Moondragon by incorporating resistance and focus bonuses she previously gave herself into her base stats, removing them from her passive, ensuring no loss of power by applying these bonuses to the base stats of her Infinity Watch teammates. So it's going to not be in her passive anymore, and the rest of the team, her old team, Infinity Watch, will get 60% focus, 60% resistance. I don't know how you would use this team as a 4-piece. I still feel like the Secret Defenders is a viable team, but Infinity Watch, as far as I'm concerned, is somewhat of a dead team. Stat increases, which I believe is live in game. New basic attack. Attack for damage, 5% of the target's max health. If there is more than one non-summoned enemy, mind control the non-summoned enemy to attack the primary target. That controlled character gains extra damage for this attack. Place this now to one random by level ally and one random Astral ally. Interesting. Forced to attack an ally, this character deals less damage to Astral characters. This used to be tied to a charge mechanic, so they're just getting rid of that altogether. Yeah, it just doesn't, it's not going to matter on this. All right, special. Flip immunity on primary target. They added the 5% of target's max health to the damage there. Apply immunity to yourself and all Infinity Watch and Astral allies. Immunity is cool. Some of the other kits feature Safeguard. I think that's fantastic. Telepathic Burst. I'm not going to say that joke anymore. In Battle World and War with Awakened, apply Disrupted for 2 turns to all enemies. So we still have to see how this is all going to play out. So there's 2 reworks, 2 new characters. I'm actually pretty optimistic about Emma. I think her kit is pretty cool, and I think she might have some plug and play opportunities with X-Men. And then we will be getting Kingpin as a legendary character. The requirements that we know of so far are going to be Annihilators and Illuminati, but no details on the legendary event as far as we can see. Let me know what you think in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.